So Halloween is coming up, and a lot of young women are thinking about what costumes they'll be wearing. And if you've watched Mean Girls, you know that Halloween is the one night a year where a girl can dress like a total slut and no one can say a word about it.
Technically, these days... Oh, I put Cher on camera.
Oh, hi, Cher.
Oh, hi, Cher. Technically, these days, you're not supposed to slut shame anyways. So they should be allowed to do it no matter what.
Yeah, that's completely taboo now. So you basically can just go out wearing your underwear, and that's considered a Halloween costume now. Sabrina Carpenter is ranked number 9 on Google's official list for most sought after Halloween costumes this year in 2024, the most popular celebrity costume for Halloween this year in general, which is kind of surprising because literally all she wears on stage is bedazzled lingerie. That's it. Like, there's nothing that distinctive about it.
The modern Western woman's desire to hoe is unquenchable. It's a thirst
just underwear with rhinestones on it. There's, like, I don't even know if you could walk into a party and people would be like, oh, you're dressed as Sabrina Carpenter. They would just like, oh, okay, she's in her underwear.
If it was like the very specific example, I guess with the towel, maybe.
Maybe.
Well, it's expensive.
It's just, yeah, it probably is. And now there's like this whole cottage industry on like Etsy and all these other sites for handmade replicas of all of these lingerie outfits that Sabrina is wearing on the Short and Sweet tour. So clearly it is popular. I just don't understand what could compel you to go out wearing literal underwear in front of strangers.
I saw people arguing on the internet this weekend about whether her shows are even okay for kids to go to, because she does her shows are not 18 plus from what I can see, and that there's kids there, and that she doesn't exactly act in a PG fashion, which I guess is on the
or sing about PG topics.
On the parents for not paying closer attention to what their kids are going to, right?
This came up because she was talking about judgmental moms who feel like her tour outfits are inappropriate. And she's like, well, if you think they're inappropriate, you shouldn't be there. And I'm like, yeah, you should not be giving this woman your money.
Yeah. Wait, how is, I'm sorry, this is such an aside, but how is Dune number 18, and what does that mean? Does that mean like you're the sandworm? Does that mean you have to go dressed up as Timothée Chalamet?
But what you're looking at right now is the full list of Google's most popular Halloween costumes for 2024. And the first one is Shrunken Head Bob.
Oh, the Beetlejuice commands this list. Beetlejuice characters are all over the list. But back to your point about Sabrina Carpenter, I mean, it really is. Maybe it's just because it's low effort. They're like...
It's so low effort. It's literally just, you could go to Victoria's Secret and just be like, oh yeah, I'm in my Sabrina Carpenter costume. Like, there's nothing distinctive about it. It's just underwear.
I guess is it supposed to be like doing the hair like she does it with like the big blonde
even
curls?
Even then, it's like, come on now. We're better than this.
I noticed that Taylor Swift isn't on this list.
Yes, and I would have expected her to be, because last year I bet she was.
No, because then you have to have bad dance moves, and nobody wants to admit to having bad dance moves.
And I mentioned this too. Taylor Swift wears stuff that's almost identical to what Sabrina Carpenter wears on stage.
It's the garter.
With very little difference.
It's the garter belt and it's the stockings that do all the heavy lifting and distinguishing the two. Otherwise, it just looks like a bodysuit.
Yeah, but it's like kind of technically the same thing. You know?
I think it's as little as the difference as there is, it's a big difference, I think, in the way it's seen.
It's weird how so little can make such a huge difference in how it's perceived.
Yeah.
But I think I was saying this last week, like off air. Taylor Swift has bigger tits than Sabrina Carpenter, but spiritually, Sabrina Carpenter has bigger tits than Taylor Swift.
So that's how she wears her outfits, I guess, then.
In like an intangible sense.
One draws more attention to them than the other, say.
But you're right about her fan base, because this girl, Sabrina Carpenter, would lose a significant amount of money if she made her concerts 18 plus, which is why she's not going to do it. And it's because Sabrina Carpenter was not for my generation. Like my generation of Gen Z, at least, we didn't watch her on Disney Channel. Like, this is essentially for teenagers.
Yeah. Because
she was on Girl Meets World on Disney Channel until 2017.
Yeah.
That's pretty late in the game.
Yeah.
Far past when I feel most Gen Zers stopped watching kids' content. So actual children are a huge portion of her target audience, where she is singing about some really vulgar stuff that I don't even want to repeat. Look at her nonsense outros if you're curious. It's not appropriate for these girls.
Do you think
it's not? And if the moms are mad about it, they should use their money to show that.
Do you think that Sabrina Carpenter's success is manufactured?
I think that Kellen was correct in saying that there was a bit of a vacuum left after Taylor Swift put out her most recent album, and they realized it was kind of flopping, and they needed to introduce a new flock of contenders to become the next one. So we've got Sabrina Carpenter, obviously, Chappell Roan, Olivia Rodrigo, Tate McRae. I don't know. Are there any others I'm missing?
Sounds about right.
Those are the main ones. Yeah. Maybe Madison Beer, sorta, kinda.
Yeah. I mean, all of them are kind of propped up in some way, shape, or form, just because the nature of the industry means that only so much space is given to these especially at the events, like whether it's Lollapalooza or any of this stuff, and the labels that they represent play a huge role in getting their names out there and stuff like that. So yeah, it is manufactured.
Well, what's weird to me in the case of Chappell Roan and Sabrina Carpenter is the fact that these two girls in their mid-20s have been doing this for like a decade now. Like they've been in the music industry for a decade now, but all of a sudden everyone's heard of you in like a month, the span of a month. And it's like, that seems to have gotten some kind of artificial boost. My my more not naive side, but the side of me that wants to believe in like keep pushing until you find your success is I love that story. Like an inspiring success.
Well, no, okay, I'll give you a better example. So right now, one of the things that I saw a thread about yesterday was like, look at the success that Catherine Hahn has had 20 years on in acting. She's hit her stride and reached a higher level of fame in her 40s, or going, you know, I don't know, I think she's in her late 40s or something, than she did when she was in her 20s, which is when they tell you that all the actresses, you know, you're on a timetable, you can only be successful up until this age, and then you better start thinking about a second career. She didn't really hit that stride until later, and I can appreciate that. I like the idea even Matthew McConaughey had his own second.
Who else did? I know.
The McConaissance was real post True Detective season 1.
The
Han is 51. See? Perfect.
There was another person who was having a renaissance. Like not even that.
I also love that Catherine O'Hara's had like more like continued success since the 80s.
Jennifer Coolidge.
Yeah, Jennifer Coolidge is a great example. Like all of these actresses who you keep pushing, and you find success. Catherine O'Hara's a great example because she was kind of always successful. But Jennifer Coolidge definitely found more success later in her career than just American Pie when she was in her earlier days. But Catherine Hahn is a great example of that.
To reel it back to our original conversation, can you just give me your take as a man on Halloween costumes for women? Has it gone too far?
No, I don't think so.
Has it gone far enough?
I think in general, I think it should go farther in all counts. I think everyone should feel free to do whatever they want, because I get annoyed at somebody telling you what you can and cannot wear for your stupid Halloween costume. It's one day, it's inconsequential. I don't care.
Well, it's not about can or cannot, but it's should or should right?
not. Yes. Well, I mean, spiritually, it's can or cannot, because they want to be able to judge you based on.
But do you judge?
No.
It's funny. Every time that this conversation comes up, like, I know I was asking you, we were having a conversation about like women wearing leggings as pants, or like these other trends that most guys, when it comes up, they're like, that's crazy that women wear that. Like, it's just becoming so sexualized. They like, women have got to stop dressing like this. It's getting insane. But when I brought it up to you, you were like, no, it doesn't really, I don't know.
It doesn't
really stand out to me.
Doesn't really stand out to me.
Doesn't really bother you.
No, not looking. Doesn't. to say that you wouldn't like maybe again, I'd have to see like you'd have to put some examples in front of me and being like, what is the first thing you think of when you see this? Like it might make me look at you a certain way and have some preconceived notions, but isn't the whole point of that to be that I'm not going to know that person anyways, and it's your job as a human being if you want to dress a certain way that forces you to then have to dispel preconceived notions, that's actually handicapping yourself. Right? To create an image around you physically that you then have to worry about dispelling later. You're handicapping your own appearance. It's like when you were talking about people going to job interviews and not wanting to dress up properly for job interviews. You might have been gone when we were like, people
are mad about dressing up for job interviews now?
Yeah.
Why?
Like, it was just, don't want to have
They think it's unfair.
I mean,
like I should just be able to roll out of bed in my sweatpants and socks, wear socks with slides.
These are the same people who are bringing their parents to job interviews probably, so.
Oh my gosh, we're just so doomed on so many different levels.
Also, again, like I was saying, I'd have to see examples of like what you're talking about, but you know, leggings, whatever, that's like 90% of the world these days. I'll judge you more if you're like super out of shape and wearing them. Absolutely. To me,
most of it is that as well. Okay. But most of it is just like the feeling that you didn't put in the effort, you know? It's not really about, for me, it's like, it's not the modesty thing. There, like, sure, there's an element to that, but try harder.
I've gone to more malls in the last year than I had in like the past 10 years. And I can't think of any examples outside of maybe just a couple of people where I looked at them and thought, what are you doing wearing that in public?
I've definitely had some moments like that. Like,
and I think the one that I saw was more along the lines of the same thing that you pointed out, which is where she was wearing the skin tight leggings, but they were like the same color as her.
It's a bizarre choice.
That was
psychotic almost,
especially given like where like walking in a mall, it's even more distinguishable because you're like against a sea of people who are dressed in a way that stands out. So it just looks even more
under fluorescent lights. Like, why are you naked?
And you're like, why would you do that?
Genuinely, why? Unless you're just a psychopath who wants to scare people into thinking that you're naked in public.
I do love the videos that, or like when a Joey Swoll will make the videos about like the women who dress a certain way at the gym and then get annoyed when men look at them as if the men...
How dare you look at my voluptuous curves? You pervert.
I think the bigger thing that should be called into question here is how fashion... I think about this a lot, which is like we've kind of, and I perfectly fall as a victim to this, given that I wear sweatpants pretty much every day. We've like
but no one sees that. So
we've abandoned like everyone just goes out in the most comfortable thing all the time, including me. Like there are days where I'm like, I should wear jeans. I just don't. And people do that every day. There's something to be said that when the apocalypse happens and you can't actually carry a firearm because your sweatpants won't carry your holster, you know?
It's the apocalypse and you're like, oh, my jeans are so uncomfortable.
Exactly. The actual apocalypse will be way funnier. The actual zombie apocalypse will be way funnier because it will be a bunch of men being like, man, I can't, my extra mags won't fit in my sweatpants. It keeps pulling them down. Like there's a great comedy skit to be made there.
This is why you need some Levi Wokes.
Oh, I wish we could watch that live on air. They do make sweatpants that are designed to be worn with conceal and carry now, though. But I love that. Like, think about that. Like, some company had to be like, well,
people they're
not wearing any freaking jeans. We're gonna have to develop sweatpants that people can wear and carry.
That's the world we live in now.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.